I don't know, Coach. It's like she always just leaves me with mixed feelings. I mean, there are days when I'm like, man, I really dodged a bullet by letting her go. But then there are other days when I'm like, maybe she's the one that got away. I don't know. It's always just so confusing. My buddies just say to me, hey, man, don't worry about it. She's just another box. But she's so much more than that to me. You know, like she's not just another box. She's like some sort of atomic squeezebox.
Well, I might be about 20 years too late with this one, but yes, we are going to talk about the InnerTUBE Audio Atomic Squeezebox today, and we're going to talk about my mixed feelings about it. Now, to be fair, I've got mixed feelings about every piece of audio gear out there, but this one in particular has been the source of so much speculation and debate and drama around here. I thought it was a story worth bringing to you. If you are new here, my name is David Peters. We are in my studio, Oak House Recording, in the Los Angeles area. I haven't been able to do many of these videos in the past several months, and that's just because we've been dealing with the fallout of the fires up here. Most of the neighborhoods up here, they're just gone, and the people have been displaced, and the kids had to change schools and all kind of crazy stuff. So we're settling into a new normal, which means that hopefully I'll have more time to do some of these fun videos. I do appreciate everyone reaching out about getting mixes done, about consultation stuff, the personal coaching work I do. I even have a little fun with that in this video. But anyway, that's who I am. That's where you are. Without further ado, let's go talk lust, love, and loss with the Atomic Squeezebox. The Atomic Squeezebox is a tube compressor from InnerTUBE Audio that's been around for about 20 years now. And it kind of gained a reputation for being able to provide large amounts of invisible compression. Now, it's not an inexpensive box, clocking in around $7,500. And its topology, or the way it works, has kind of remained a very intentional mystery, with lots of its secrets encapsulated in one of these little epoxy cakes. More on that later. There are mono and stereo units out there. The mono units have an internal power supply, which can get kind of hot actually, and while the stereo units have an external power supply. Each channel uses 4 large octal tubes, and everything is hand wired, making it appear more kind of like a homebrew guitar amp than your standard modern compressor build. Let's do a super fast rundown of the controls. We have an input knob, so input level. Squeeze is your threshold. Attack and release, pretty standard. Slope is like your ratio, and gain is just your output gain, your output level. This one's called hold. This kind of extends the length of the release of the compression. So you set your release speed over here, but sometimes it holds on to the gain reduction before it releases it. Okay, then over here we have slow, medium, and fast modes. It's settled in between the attack and release knob, so I'm not sure if it's controlling both of those things. And then we have just a dual and link mode, which is just, you know, linked stereo operation or independent operation. We have our bypass switches over there. I tend not to use those. They're so small and so close to the meter, I got to get my fingernail in to mess with it. And then over here, gain reduction and output metering on really nice big switches. Those are the switches I never use, even though they're nice and big. And the ones I really want to use are really small and hard to get to. So there's my complaints. Slow attack. Fastest attack. Slowest attack. Now, I don't know about you, but I barely can discern a difference there on the entire range of the attack knob, which, I don't know, it's interesting. However, there are these little switches right here. So we have a fast, medium, and slow switch. Now these are a little bit more noticeable. Let's increase the compression. It's different, but it's subtle. So now let's listen to the releases. Right now we're at a pretty fast release. That's slow release. Meters look a little different. There might be some difference, but it's not a huge difference. So again, this is where the switches come in. These are the hold switches. The hold is just set on 1 right now. I'm going to switch it all the way to 3 to get the biggest difference so we can hear it. Now you can hear a difference. You always hear that mystery click up between 5 and 6. I don't know what that's all about, but it's timeless on these.
So what really stood out about her at first?
Well, she definitely has a pretty face. And she's got these big tubes. She's really tubey. And she's kind of got this soft but firm thing happening, which is kind of nice. And even when you get her meters like really bouncing around, she still has this like really subtle touch. She's darker than I expected, but I've kind of found that refreshing with so many others being so kind of like clean and brittle these days. You know, like she really has some character. I don't know. She's just unique.
So check out this image that kind of shows the results of some audio testing we did on this unit. So the yellow line that looks like a giant wave, that's the harmonic distortion from this box. And there is a lot of it, hence the perceived tubiness. And the blue line at the bottom, that's actually the frequency response. Notice how it starts falling off almost like a low-pass filter, starting between 5 and 10K. That is not typical. This thing definitely has a sound, hence how I described it as being dark. So it kind of looks like a homebrew guitar amp inside, and it kind of sounds like one too. If the Atomic Squeezebox is famous for anything, it's for what it can do on highly dynamic sources like a vocal. So we're going to listen to singer-songwriter Heather Aubrey Lloyd. This is her song Hometown Hero. I didn't record this, but I did mix it here a while back, and I had the Squeezebox in the studio when I did it, so I was printing some of her vocals through the Squeezebox. So I don't have video of these samples, so we can't really see how far I'm pushing the meters or anything on these, but you will get to hear the sound of the compression and the sound of the box.
Building what? I'm not even sure, but I sure look busy. Spinning and spinning on that wheel in my cage. Building what? I'm not even sure, but I sure look busy. Spinning and spinning on that wheel in my cage. Building what? I'm not even sure, but I sure look busy. Spinning and spinning on that wheel in my cage.
Here for a second opinion, we have a chicken. Yep, that's kind of how I heard it too. Okay, so now let's listen to it in context with the music. And instead of using the raw vocal as our comparison, I'm going to use one that I printed through Pro C, from FabFilter. So we're getting the same amount of compression, but just a very clean one from the FabFilter plugin versus what the Squeezebox is doing. So you can kind of hear more of the difference of the character of the compression and definitely the difference of the character of the box itself.
Every dream stopped it out of truth. Can't accept, can't break through. Every dream stopped it out of truth. You can't accept, can't break through. Every dream stopped it out of truth. You can't accept, can't break through. But I hear they let anyone sing as much as we want.
You know that kind of saturation and roll-off thing I was talking about the other day? I found that they actually kind of combine in kind of a unique and special way, and that she doesn't just sound like tubey, she's actually kind of tapey. So many girls are trying so hard to be tapey these days, but they don't quite get it. Well, she pulls off tapey without even intending to, and that's kind of really a turn on. And then, maybe I'm not getting quite as much compression as I kind of was hoping for. But, depending on where we do it, it can be really special in ways where it was just awkward with anyone else. And that was kind of a really pleasant surprise.
One of the hardest instruments to compress successfully is also one of my favorite places to use the Squeezebox. Let's hear what this thing can do on Heather's acoustic guitar.
So what did you discover that disappointed you?
Well, at first it was just the little things, I mean, she's way noisier than I expected her to be, and I guess all that flavor maybe comes with a price. I don't know. And as much as I loved her tubes, they just deflated all the time. We had to keep kind of throwing new ones in there, and it gets a little expensive and kind of uncomfortable. And then her repair doctors would tell me these crazy stories, like that she had 300 volts running through her tiny switches, and they kind of half jokingly said that maybe I should keep my kids away from her for safety, and that was a little unsettling. And then her little power supply would always be humming in the background, and that just kind of just drilling into my ear. And then sometimes she was just too much, I always just felt like saying, babe, can you just dial it back to 50%? And if you can't, can you at least just handle the basics reliably? Because sometimes she couldn't even do that. I don't know, it just all started kind of adding up.
There's a quote I think about a lot by economist Thomas Sowell, and he says, "There are no solutions, only trade-offs." And I kind of think that's true in just about every area of life, and of course it's true with audio gear, right? No one ever gets everything they want out of a box, and so we've become quite used to accepting trade-offs. But sometimes things cross over from trade-off into deal breaker. It's time to talk about these.
So in the end, what led you to walk away?
Well, she had secrets, she had this little black lockbox for a heart. And, when things were good, it really didn't matter. But, sometimes she would just break down and there was nothing I could do about it. I mean, doctors couldn't even help her. They couldn't even get into that lockbox. And, well, that's where all of her issues really came from.
What did she have to say about it?
Eventually, she told me just to send her back to meet her maker. And I thought, oh, that sounds a bit extreme. But that's what I had to do. I figured, she'd be resurrected in just a few days and return to me. But then months went by and she was nowhere to be seen. And I was getting frustrated. And so out of frustration, I emailed her maker. And I said, hey, I have way too much invested in her to not have her here by my side. I've got needs. And he just snapped back at me and said, well, if you don't like it, why don't you just sell her? And I thought, whoa, that was pretty old school harsh.
So what did you do?
Well, when she finally did return, You know, I was out several $100s, and she just had a new little lockbox for a heart. And I started to wonder if this temporary piece I had just purchased was just nothing more than another ticking time bomb. And I just started to feel like, man, this is unsustainable for me. So eventually I sent her off to live with a friend, you know, who was willing to accept her as she was. And, well, apparently they're really happy now. So, you know, maybe it all worked out in the end.
The reason the Squeezebox has caused so much drama here in my studio is because it was uniquely inspiring, but it was also uniquely frustrating. It would give you a sauce, unlike anything else, but it also was something I never felt like I could rely on. Both units I owned over the years had to go in for services multiple times. And then what happens when you can't get any of these little replacement black boxes?
If I asked you to sum up your feelings, what would you say? Okay, well, here it is. I will definitely always love her. She will always hold a very special place in my heart. I definitely miss her from time to time. In the end, I guess I wish that she was just a bit more refined. I mean, I know that we're all more than some of our parts, but some of her parts were just like, well, there's just some untapped potential there, I felt. But the thing was really her secrets. You know, we all have our secrets. But if you won't let anyone help you when you break down, then, well, what can we really do? Like, where is there really to go? At some point, I just feared that she was going to end up being like this really expensive trap.
Maybe all the units I had were just specially crappy. My guess is I doubt it. In fact, maybe let's actually, before we wrap up this video, let's go look at the ones for sale on Reverb and kind of see what they're going for and what's up with them. Okay, so take a look at this one here. There's a mono unit. Hey, that's a really great price. Let's check out the description. Meter not working. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that there's a unit for sale on Reverb that needs service, but that can't be serviced? Okay, so there you go. This is the decision you have to make. This is the decisions that the designers have to grapple with this as well. I'm just putting that all on the table so all of you know, okay? So probably the main question that's been swirling around the Squeezebox for the last 20 years is, how does this thing work? What's going on in there? What's its topology? All that kind of stuff. Well, I've had my units in and out of service enough times where we've just had to figure things out enough to kind of figure out what's going on in there. And I don't want to say too much, but you can think of the Atomic Squeezebox as being loosely based around something like an 1176 with tubes playing some key roles. And that's all I really want to say here. But anyway, it's definitely a cool, unique thing that really hasn't been done before. It's definitely a box that has its uses. Is it for you? Is it not? That's all totally up to you. I'm just kind of here to show you what I think and to run you through it. So with that, I'm going to sign off for today until the next one. I hope everyone out there enjoyed this and got some value from it. If so, please leave a like, please subscribe. You know, leave me messages in the comments. I love to get to know everybody. I like to meet other engineers and creatives out there, and it helps the channel grow. And if the channel grows, I get to make more of these videos. So drop some love. Until then, see you next time.